Hi, I'm Neil Finlay. Making decisions. I'm sure you always make good decisions and you make them quickly. So this video is not for you, but I'm sure you can think of someone you've already got in mind that you can send it to. See, many people have trouble making decisions, regardless of their age, education or gender. Making a decision for them can be a stressful and perplexing activity, sometimes taking them to the edge of paralysis. Yet it shouldn't be so, and it needn't be so if sound thought processes and strategies are implemented. The world we live in derives much of its activity and wealth from influencing people to purchase, act, or make choices that are sometimes not in their best interests. Often our ability to choose is compromised to the point where we are making unwise or even involuntary decisions. Now, this is the domain of marketers and other professionals whose role is and goal is to get us to behave according to their wishes, to sign up for, to purchase or to act without thinking. This is the essence of impulse purchases. But what if there was a simple process whereby we could disarm those who seek access to our credit cards and always make good decisions that look after our interests? Well, there is. Take a moment with me to walk through a simple, sequential process that will allow even complex decision making to become easier. With some careful thought, mixed with a little willpower and practice, of course, the natural enemies of sound decisions can be defeated. Now, some of these enemies include peer pressure, that almost irresistible pressure applied from those near to us to follow their wishes, to conform. Undue haste, the act of making a decision without taking the time or effort to think it through. There's procrastination, the opposite to haste, yet it delivers the risk of not making a decision at all or in a timely manner so that we miss opportunities. Hormones and ego. What can I say? Every one of us has natural urges to act or behave in certain ways, and we should learn to harness and control these rather than letting them control us. And let's not forget those marketers who bombard us with their messages to buy their products and services every day and night. So how can we make good decisions consistently without being overrun by the complexity and the scale of the decision at hand? Firstly, it's a process, just taking one step at a time. Just as the old cliche answers the rhetorical question of how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time, there are bite-sized steps that make decision making easy. And as we apply each step or filter in succession, we eliminate more and more and more of the possible options or choices, and so the whole process gets progressively easier. We take out the complexity and the scale of the issue one step at a time until it becomes an easier decision and a correct one. Here we have 10 simple steps to making a good decision, which once understood and practiced become second nature and happen instinctively, intuitively, effectively armor plating us against bad decisions. 10 filters that will sift out the confusion, frustration, and often the paralysis of decision making. Let's get started. Number 1, is it legal? Is what we want to do legal? Does it break any of the laws of the land? Because if it's illegal, then simply don't do it. Straight away, many of the possible options just vaporize, narrowing down our possible decision and making our decision that much easier. Number 2, is it ethical? Many things can be legal, but not ethical. This could refer to customs or standards of behavior relative to where we live or work. Usually, the law of the land doesn't tell us how to comply with customs, yet it is really bad etiquette to break with custom in many instances. For instance, eating, clothing, behavior. There can be strong unwritten laws such as cultural law forbidding or requiring certain standards of behavior. And sound ethics will mandate that any decision we take does not harm other people's interests or the natural environment we live in. If a decision we face complies with the laws of the land, does not infringe on relevant customs, and is ethical, then we have eliminated many possible choices, and our decision has just got a whole lot easier. Number 3, does it fit with our values? Every person has a set of values they live by. Some people have documented these, which is a really good idea, as our values are a template for our life and articulate how we think, act and behave. Our values are a pattern, a foundation from which to make good decisions, a firm, stable guide in times of stress, difficulty and tiredness. It's paramount to ensure that any decisions we take are in alignment with these internal values. We should all take a little time to develop our own personal values statement. It needn't be more than 3 or 4 sentences in length, but it will define how we live and help us to live. Take the time to do this, as it is key to making good decisions. Number 4, does it fit with our life vision? Does the choice we face fit with our life plan? Like our personal values, a life vision or plan will help steer us through every decision, every challenge, and every opportunity we face. Once we develop a vision for our life, many choices simply go away, for they don't fulfill or fit with our vision and become irrelevant. Take the time to develop this. It also need not be lengthy, but it should be thought through and ideally documented and placed somewhere handy so we can see it. By now, the choice we face has become much, much easier. Number 5, do our peers or inner circle approve? Most of us have a close peer group, call it an inner circle if you wish, that know us and understand us. These could be our friends, our family or partners. And when faced with a major decision, we should take the time to ask our close confidants for their opinion. It doesn't mean that we are necessarily bound by the wishes of others, but it does mean that we have applied the collective wisdom of those around us to a particular decision. This second opinion can save us lots of pain. Number 6, is it common sense? This might be regarded as being too subjective by some. But if that's what it takes to make a good decision, then so be it. Some decisions can be entirely legal, ethical, even moral, but can be really, really dumb. Sometimes all we have to do is take a step back and think about it a little before making a decision. Caution, this is exactly what some marketers and spruikers don't want us to do, for this is the essence of impulse buying. Just think carefully, putting all of the emotion and ego aside, if possible, for a little while and think about it. Number 7, is it a good idea? Putting it simply, have we done our homework? For every question we face or decision we make, there will inevitably be reasons why we should or shouldn't act. Be sure to consider the financial implications of any decision and get some sound external advice if need be, if unsure, especially if signing any documents that will bind us to any commitments. Take a little time and consider. Is the proposal practical? Is it a good move for me? Can I afford it? Ultimately, we are responsible for our own decisions. We can't just blame someone else for something that didn't work out. Above all, don't allow others to make commitments for us, such as giving someone else the authority to sign things on our behalf. Perhaps one of the worst things a person can do is act as a guarantor for someone else, effectively taking on the financial risk for their actions and their performance. Just don't do it. Many people allow others to make decisions for them, abdicating their role of decision making, and then complain that things aren't working out for them. When it comes to good ideas, be careful about doing things just because our friends or peers tell us to do it. And remember, we are the ones that are accountable, not someone else. Number 8, spiritual. Most of us have some religious or spiritual background and adhere to or subscribe to some spiritual beliefs. Whatever the religion is that we subscribe to, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, or another, there will most likely be a set of values that flow out of that. And these beliefs will almost always have value in helping us make sound decisions. They will universally dictate that we care for others, that we expend some of our energy and resources caring for the poor and disadvantaged, and so forth. These additional values will add significant strength and credibility to any decision we make. Number 9, gut feeling. This is sometimes referred to as intuition, and it's a valuable asset to own. Whilst to many people this is far too subjective to be taken seriously, the facts remain that a person's gut feel or intuition is a powerful asset that should never be taken lightly. In fact, this element of decision making has often made ordinary people enormously successful. They seem to possess this sixth sense that warns them of risk or encourages them to take a risk, often in the face of available evidence or the odds of success. Learn to identify gut feel. Like any muscle, it will grow and gain strength as we exercise it. So don't be afraid to do just that. Closely related to gut feel is the ubiquitous sniff test that successful business people often harness. After having looked at the evidence, considered the facts and recommendations from others, having done their due diligence, they simply weigh it up and make a judgment call. Number 10, the golden rule. Do unto others what we would like them to do to us. This is so old, so simple that it should require little discussion. Yet it is often overlooked or ignored in our fast-paced society. Does what we propose to do disadvantage others, or will it ultimately be a net benefit to others? The answer to this question will often, of itself, determine whether we take a particular course of action or not. We've now looked at 10 simple, sequential steps to making a sound, beneficial, and generally good decision on any matter. These steps are like a series of filters. If we expose the proposed decision to each one of these steps or tests, and it passes through each one, then most likely it's a good thing to do. If we find that any or many of these filters cause us to stop and reconsider, then whatever the roadblock is, we should think very carefully before proceeding. Once established and practiced, these steps can all be taken easily and quickly, such that they become second nature. And we will then, as a matter of course, take right decisions to our benefit and the benefit of those around us. I'm Neil Finlay, and this is the Mentor's Diary.